In this video, we're going to be talking about grieving the loss of a loved one. You know, there's very few things in this world that is more depressing than when somebody that you love and really care about passes away. And this could be anybody from your wife, your husband, a child, a brother, a sister, a friend. To be honest with you, even when it's a pet, it can actually be quite sad. I even find myself choked up over pets that pass away. Not to the same extent as a human, but obviously there is a degree of sadness because you had something, it was in your life, you cared about this person, and they're gone now, and you're not going to see them for possibly a very long time. And this can be very crippling. And, there's a lot of books out there on the market, different things that try to help people survive this horrific circumstances. But the reality is, I think my favorite book to look to for this is the Bible, particularly the book of Psalms. Because the thing is about the book of Psalms is there's just a lot of really leaning on the Lord in desperate times in that book. I feel like in that book you really see people like David, for example, really expressing pain and agony in those books and seeking the Lord for comfort. And ultimately, as far as from my own experience of grieving the loss of a loved one, I will say there is two things. I really can't give you no solid advice. I'm going to tell you it's going to hurt. Like, there's no way to not hurt. Like when someone dies, it's like mashing your finger with a hammer. There's no way that that's not going to hurt. There are some things you can do. You can bandage it up and you can make it hurt less, but it's still going to hurt tomorrow morning. And the same thing is true when you lose a loved one. There are some things you can do that's going to help you cope with it, but there's nothing you can do to necessarily take the pain completely away. All right? And one of the worst things you can do is get caught up in living in this continuous trauma where every day of your life turns into a cycle of grief. You're not eating good, you're not going out places, you're just continually in this cycle of grief. I don't recommend getting wrapped up in that, and that's why I think it's good for you to allow yourself to grieve, but don't let yourself completely just turn into this person that's depressed. Force yourself to still do activities you need to do whether you feel like it or not, because what'll happen is you're just going to end up like I was for a little while. We were just in the bed all day and you don't associate with nobody, and your life just becomes complete depression. So you still need to make sure you do activities, take care of yourself, take a shower, eat, things like this. But really pour into God, really pour into the Bible. There's two directions you can go when you're going through sadness. You can turn to the world, drinking, partying. These things can provide a good distraction, but they take us to hell, right? So let's not do that. Let's make use of the other option, which is to abide in Jesus. And Jesus can definitely, it's scientifically proven and it's biblically proven that believing in God has brought tremendous comfort to thousands of grieving people in this world. So let's make use of that. Let's pour in the God. The Bible says we do not grieve like those who have no hope. That doesn't mean that we don't grieve. It means we don't grieve like those who have no hope. We grieve, but we grieve with hope. Hope in God. And if your person that you lost was a believer, take comfort in knowing that that person's life is complete. The whole purpose of this life is to go to heaven. So even though it's hard, rejoice for that person that they have entered into life. And if you feel like you don't know for sure your loved one went to heaven, or maybe your loved one wasn't even a Christian, if that's the case, then I would recommend not even touching on the afterlife in your mind on this topic, because there's nothing in the world that's worse than sitting and thinking my loved one could be in hell right now. So I would recommend that if you're not sure somebody went to heaven, or you maybe the person wasn't a Christian, or maybe they was even a bad person, I would say just don't touch on that topic. Just leave that to God and don't even worry about that. Don't think about that, because all that's going to do is cause mental insanity in you. And just one thing that helped me too is just kind of just telling God in a respectful way, I'm hurting in these areas, please help me. Writing it down kind of helped me too, or writing it down online, like in a journal thing or something. And another thing you can also do too is just kind of set and practice embracing the fact that you have no control over it. Because one of the things that drove me crazy in life is we want to control things and we can't. And just say, God, this is yours. This is under your control, but there's nothing I can do about it. And that actually brings a piece of comfort to me. God bless.